Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the day before. I have an exciting video for you guys today, and I think you guys are gonna love it. So basically, I know times are tough for people, they're not getting their SNAP benefits. And by the way, I was raised by my grandmother, and I was raised on food stamps. So I can't imagine being a child right now, in a household that is not getting their food benefits. It really breaks my heart. But anyway, I wanted to make a video today that's a full Thanksgiving dinner, and I wanted to try to do it as cheaply as possible. I've been there, and I wanted to share some little tips and tricks with you guys and make a full Thanksgiving for $32. I've already done the shopping. I'll show you guys the groceries. And if I have left anything out, I'll explain my reasoning why as well. Because, if you're on a budget, you gotta do what you gotta do. Whoops. And you want to make sure your family feels like, their bellies are full on Thanksgiving and they haven't missed out on a thing, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. $32, and I'll show you how I create a full Thanksgiving. And then I'm also going to make Thanksgiving casseroles for that weekend. So for $32, you're getting a full Thanksgiving meal for your family. Plus, you're getting stuff to eat for the weekend, and it's going to be already made for you. So you pop it in the oven and then you eat it. So you get to relax that weekend, Oh, also, in that $32, I included milk and butter in the budget. And a lot of places are not including those items, even though you need milk and butter to make Thanksgiving, and they're not cheap. So I included those in my video today. But you can spend a wonderful holiday with your family and not spend a whole bunch of money. There have been years where we just didn't have very much money, and we had wonderful Thanksgiving and Christmases those years, right? Sometimes you have to get creative. Sometimes you go do free stuff, like look at Christmas lights, driving around. But you can create that magic on a budget, okay? So I'm going to share my receipts with you next. For one ingredient, I went to Dollar Tree. It was Pillsbury cream cheese frosting. Anyway, it was $1.25 with 7 cents of food tax for a total of $1.32. At a local grocery store, they had spice cake mix on sale for 99 cents. And I'm going to use that spice cake and that cream cheese frosting for the dessert, and it's not going to be spice cake. And here, I went to Aldi for all the rest of the ingredients, and I really did check. Aldi was cheaper for everything, cheaper than Walmart. And even by like 2 or 3 cents, you know what I'm saying? So here's the receipt for that. For the turkey, I got a turkey breast. And I got that at Aldi as well for $9.69. And you can probably get stuff cheaper than that. I think I saw one for $7 and something cents. I also got a whole turkey, and this is what I'll actually use on Thanksgiving, but it wasn't much more than that. Here it is, and I did go to Walmart for the turkey, even though I think I could have gotten one just as cheap at Aldi. For the turkey, you can, really use the turkey as a budgeting tool, if you've spent every last dime on everything else and you just have like $9 or $10, you can get the smallest turkey or turkey breast that you can find. And that's a way to budget, Here is the menu, okay? For our meal, I'm gonna do the turkey breast. We're going to have Hawaiian rolls, jellied cranberry sauce, turkey gravy. I got 2 things of turkey gravy mix. And then I told you I bought milk and butter as well. We're gonna have a green bean casserole, stuffing, and mashed potatoes and gravy. For the dessert, I'm gonna show you how to make a 2-ingredient pumpkin bread, and then we're gonna use the cream cheese frosting on top of that. Yum, it is so good, you guys. And that will take place of like a pumpkin pie and just make stuff a little bit cheaper. Because also, in like the $40 Aldi meal and stuff like that, they include pie crust and pumpkin, like a can of pumpkin, but not all the rest of the ingredients to make the pie, which doesn't make sense to me. You know, I honestly don't have like ginger and nutmeg and all that stuff in my pantry because I don't make those kinds of dessert items enough to need it, right? All right, so now I'm gonna get all the ingredients together for you in one place so you can see just what I got to make this meal. All right, my friends, here are all of the ingredients for our Thanksgiving, including dessert and including some Thanksgiving casseroles for the weekend. And all of this was $31.80 something. I don't remember exactly, I think 87. So we're gonna cook this all up together. However, I don't think I'm gonna show you like cooking the turkey breast or the turkey. I will link a video down below. I was looking at some turkey recipes, right? Some time ago, and I came across this video where this lady was just like, how do you cook a turkey? You throw it in the fucking oven. And I kind of agree, you know, people spend a lot of time making the perfect turkey, but all of it kind of does taste the same in my opinion. So instead of spending our time on that, what I am gonna show you is how I make my green bean casserole, how to make this 2-ingredient pumpkin bread with cream cheese frosting for dessert, because that is a super cheap dessert and it's delicious, you guys. And I'm also going to show you how to make the Thanksgiving casserole for after Thanksgiving during the weekend when, you know, you're wanting to relax. Now, all of this costs $31 and something cents plus. That includes the tax, that includes the butter, that includes the milk, right? The only thing I'm going to be using other than these ingredients is salt, pepper, and other spices. Probably some garlic salt or onion salt, stuff that people will usually have around because, you know, you got to use a substantial amount of milk and butter for Thanksgiving. So I thought it should be included in the cost of Thanksgiving, right? And let's go over the receipts again just to make sure because I'm not sure if you could see them well. But here is for the frosting. As you can see, it was $1.25, $1.32 with tax. And that was the cheapest I could find it in my town. We have access to a Walmart, an Aldi, a locally owned grocery store, which is where the spice cake mix came from. It was on sale. And then we do have a Dollar Tree as well. And we have Dollar Generals, but I don't shop there really. But I wanted to, you know, show if we're really budgeting how we can do this, you know, as cheap as possible. I was honestly trying to do it for $25 and I just couldn't. But say you use the gravy packets from here, well, then you don't need to buy the turkey gravy like I did, right? So that's going to save you, where is it? $1.18 plus tax, right? And then if you could find a bit of a cheaper turkey than what I found, and like I said, this is what? $9.19 plus tax. I mean, it's out there, you guys. So just like search around. I think that I didn't get like, because they didn't really have it out when I did my shopping, right? But they do now. They have cheap whole turkeys for like 77 cents a pound at Aldi. But I just got what they had out at the time, which is this. Anyway, let's get to cooking, you guys, because I'm gonna be hungry for dinner tonight and we need to get this done. Okay, friends, now we're gonna make a green bean casserole. And I failed to mention earlier that the reason why we're not having candied yams with our Thanksgiving meal is because we're going to be having our candied yams with our Christmas meal this year. So we're not missing out on a thing, you know, but since we are on a budget, our green bean casserole goes into the Thanksgiving casserole. So that's why it's being included in this meal. But you just don't, oh, you know what? What you should do, honestly, is mix your cream of mushroom soup with your milk into your pan before you dump the green beans in, but oh well. Also, if your lid drops in there, or if you see like stuff like that, just pull it out. We don't need that. Anyway, next we're gonna put this in. So let me sit you down so I can do that. Add about that much, can you see that? Add about that much milk. It's not all the way full, but I put about 2/3 of a can of milk up in there. Then we're gonna add our salt and our pepper right here, okay? Be generous. Now, since I accidentally included the green beans before I mixed the milk and the cream of mushroom soup together, I'm just gonna go ahead and add everything right now. And also, I really, really like my green bean casserole peppery, so I'm gonna add a lot. Then just sprinkle some of your French fried onions in there, but not too much. You want most of them to cover the casserole, okay? And now we have everything up in there, so we're just gonna mix it up with a fork until it's well mixed together. And then that's gonna be ready to go into the oven, you guys. Just mix it up, right? Okay, and while I thoroughly mix it, I'm gonna sit y'all down so I can work better. All right, now once you've mixed it together well, this is what it's gonna look like. And this is ready for the oven. All right, friends, our turkey is done, and I also have the mashed potatoes done. Now that's been cooking in the oven at 375 degrees for 30 minutes. Now, we're gonna sprinkle the rest of this can right on top. And I'm gonna put that back into the oven at 375. Just dump them out and then spread them evenly. It's not a big deal. Anyway, we're gonna put that back in the oven at 375 degrees for 10 minutes. I also forgot to include that in the grocery haul. Yes, we did get Hawaiian sweet rolls, and they are a great price at Aldi at $1.99 a pack. So if that's what you want for Thanksgiving, that's where I would go for them. But I'm gonna get that back in the oven, you guys. I also want to mention, I'm only going to be making 1 box of stuffing for our demonstration today because we're not going to eat it with our dinner tonight. We're going to be having basically a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And I just, that'll be a little bit much. And then I also wanted to talk about why I didn't include mac and cheese real quick. I do not feel like including mac and cheese, and I mean, a lot of people will just have a box of mac and cheese in their cabinet. So if you do want to include it, by all means, go ahead, and hopefully you don't even need to include that in your budget. It's already like a box is in your pantry, right? But you know, we already have the milk and butter. So, you know, if you do want to include mac and cheese, go ahead. But you know, we have mac and cheese all the time, and we just don't do it at Thanksgiving like every time we have it. So I just didn't include it here because it was a easy way to limit the budget. And since people have mac and cheese a lot, you know, I just left it out. But that's the reason why, and I just wanted to mention that real quick because a lot of menus for Thanksgiving include mac and cheese. But I'm gonna go pop that back in the oven before it's too late. All right, I'll see you guys real soon to do the pumpkin bread. Yum. All right, my friends, I have the green bean casserole pulled out. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make pumpkin bread. So let's get this can of pumpkin into the bowl first. All right, so what you're gonna do is add a can of pumpkin and a box of spice cake mix to a mixing bowl, and you're gonna mix that up. Now I need both hands to mix it up, so again, I'm gonna sit y'all down. I don't know what y'all can see right now. Here, I'm mixing it up for y'all. So you got to mix it quite a bit to get this ready to go into your pre-prepared lined bread loaf pan. So that's lined with parchment paper and sprayed with oil. So far I have the green bean casserole done, the turkey, the stuffing, and the mashed potatoes. So while this is cooking, I'll finish the other stuff up, except for the rolls, because you know you leave those last. And I'll show you everything I cooked when it's done. And then I plan to show you how to make a Thanksgiving casserole as well. Ugh, that stuff is hard to mix. So it's gonna look like that when it's fully mixed up, okay? And then I'm gonna put it in there and I'll show you what it looks like once I put it in there. But it's also probably gonna be pretty difficult to get it into the loaf pan. So again, I'm gonna sit you down. There it is, you guys. Now, I will say, that is not the easiest batter to work with, but I'm gonna go put that in the oven. And I'll see y'all soon. So friends, my mic quit working while I was filming, so I'm having to do a voiceover for this part. But this is the Thanksgiving spread fully finished. Doesn't it look great? We have a 6-pound bone-in turkey breast, stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, a little beagle, jellied cranberry sauce, Hawaiian rolls, and 2-ingredient pumpkin bread is in the oven at this point. Doesn't that look great? And if you can see, I have some turkey chopped up right there and ready to go for this Thanksgiving casserole I'm about to show you how to make. It's super easy and it's super delicious. You can make it any size that you would like. I often make it in a 9 by 13 inch pan, just like the green bean casserole is in. However, I'm going to make this one for my son to have on Thanksgiving because he's my oldest son and he won't be here. But the first layer is mashed potatoes. So you just slop as much mashed potatoes as you want for your bottom layer, and then you just spread it around. There you go, like magic, it's done. Then what you're gonna want to do is take your green bean casserole. Yes, you're gonna put your green bean casserole in this, and you put it right on top of the mashed potatoes. It is so delicious, you guys. You will love this. So you just get it into an even layer over the mashed potatoes. And then next is the chopped up turkey, right? So with this casserole, you can freeze it, you can refrigerate it, and when you're ready to use this, you're going to bake it at 400 degrees. There you go, Josh and Mama, 400-degree recipe until it's heated through. I usually do it for about 30 minutes, and that's from, refrigerated. So here I'm just like, I dump the turkey onto the green bean casserole, and I'm just spreading that out evenly. So we already had this dinner, and it was really delicious, you guys. I think you are going to enjoy this. So what I cooked here fed four of us, right? And I have three grown men in the house with me, my two youngest sons and my husband. And we have tons of leftovers. And we have this Thanksgiving casserole. So over the chopped up turkey, you're going to put some turkey gravy, right? Or whatever gravy you've got. If you just made brown gravy, that goes great over this. So, yep, you just put gravy over it, and then we will go on to the next step soon. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the recipes. So, for that green bean casserole, like I had mentioned when I was making it, you want to, and I didn't do this, but you want to mix your milk and your cream of mushroom soup together first. And that just makes it more easy to mix everything together. Excuse me, when those two ingredients are mixed up. And for this Thanksgiving casserole, if you don't have any green bean casserole left over, you can just substitute it with, a can of green beans, right? Or, if you don't have any turkey left over, but you have a bunch of sides and you have some, chicken breast, you can sub the turkey with chicken breast. Whatever is clever for you. So the very top layer of this Thanksgiving casserole is going to be the stuffing. So I used chicken stuffing, right? And it was still delicious. But you can use, your turkey stuffing or cornbread stuffing. And once you have that all spread out, it's ready to be put away. Or, if you're just going to be putting this together on the weekend, you can throw it in the oven. But yes, I'm going to be giving this one to my son. And he's going to be enjoying it on Thanksgiving. So I'm really happy for that. And here is the pumpkin bread. When it came out of the oven, I had it in there at 375 degrees for 1 hour. You pull it out, you check for doneness with a toothpick, and the toothpick should come out clean. And then you want to let it fully cool before you put on your cream cheese frosting. I also want to add, if you have chocolate chips in the pantry, you can mix that into the batter before you bake it. I've done that before and it's delicious, you guys. So there's a little tip. But yes, we are about to put delicious cream cheese frosting on this fully cooled 2-ingredient pumpkin bread that we made, right? And I did not eat that night. We just put that up and we had it for breakfast in the morning and it was just so delicious. The cream cheese frosting had like hardened a little bit, so it was kind of crunchy and it was so good, you guys. But yes, I was able to do this full Thanksgiving with a Thanksgiving casserole, including butter and milk and tax in the budget for under $32. And you can too. And you may be able, with my tips, to make it even a little bit cheaper. But you can enjoy Thanksgiving on a budget, right? Well, that's all I have for you guys today. But I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. And I wish you guys a wonderful Thanksgiving. See you guys later.